Hello, and thank you for joining me. My name is Michael Pate. I am representing the group for the Safety in Agriculture for Youth National Clearinghouse. This presentation, we're going to walk through an online tool. The National Clearinghouse is a repository for agricultural safety and health curriculum for youth. There are two different types of educational products that producers or business owners can use to kind of help train young or inexperienced workers who may not have any experience with the hazards of agriculture and to bring them up to speed using hazard risk assessments. And we'll be highlighting those today, focusing on this topic of grain handling safety. So these resources and any good educational resource will have some sort of alignment to a content standard or an objective. And so these are aligning with the agricultural, food, and natural resources career clusters that have been published by the National Council for Agricultural Education. So we're going to walk through a couple different things. So we have a different scenarios here where you can see there is a grain handling process going on. We have grain transfer and putting that into the bin for storage. So we're going to go and so we have new workers who may not be experienced with this, or you even have older workers who may have a lot of familiarity with the handling of grain, but they never had any formal training. So this is a way we can go and navigate to find resources that'll help us train individuals on how we want them to identify hazards that may present risks for injury. So here is our website. The SAFE stands for Safety in Agriculture for Youth. It is a funded project from the United States Department of Agriculture, the National Institute of Food and Agriculture. And what we're trying to do with this project is to develop a sustainable and accessible national clearinghouse so you can access resources from a variety of different companies or educational groups. And so what I'm going to highlight here is how you might navigate through this resource. So I'm going to click here on this link, and that's going to take me to this website right here where we are. First thing at the top of the screen you'll find is navigating the SAFE Clearinghouse. And you can click there, and what that brings up is it tells you a little bit more about the tool, and it tells you about the differences between a formal curriculum and supporting resources. So you may just need a supporting resource to help you train workers on a specific topic or things that you might be facing in your business. So you can scroll down and you can find the hyperlinks to all these different resources, and it tells you whether it's aligning with animal type handling safety, environmental science safety, or plant systems, crop-based agronomy, or it be power and structural, whether it be machinery or equipment that you're trying to provide training for. So we can click these links and it tells us where those alignments are. An H would designate as high, an M would designate as a medium alignment, and L would be low alignment. Blanks are typically, it's not really applicable to that content standard. So we're going to scroll down here, and I'm interested, since I've got a new group of workers who are going to help me with some grain handling on the farm or on my co-op, I'm going to click grain safety. Grain safety will take me to a resource, and it'll tell what kind of language it's in, what alignment it has, and you can find a link to it directly. So you can click and show grain safety. Now, a lot of times we want to make sure that those links are available, and we're going to make sure to have those updated regularly. So if you find something you have a problem with, please let us know. Aaron Yoder or Linda Fetzer as well. So we talked a little bit about hazard risk assessment. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to click the Saferfarm, and it brings up this Saferfarm lesson plan. You can click this link, and it'll bring you to the Utah State Extension site where you can find additional resources. This is the saferfarm.org hazard risk assessment lesson plan. So if you want to use this in a more of a formal setting where you want to have a workshop with your workers and go through the needs for doing hazard assessments where you want to look for those injury risks, this will allow you to do that. It has a PowerPoint slide available to you, and you can work through this resource. Now, let me take a moment, and we're going to talk about the Saferfarm.org. So Saferfarm.org is a product in collaboration with Penn State that the National Farm Medicine Center put together this resource that's a digitized risk assessment form. And you can also get paper-based forms through this site too. So it's free and it allows you to track and digitize your hazard risk assessment. So it's very much on the cutting edge of risk assessment. And you'll use pictures to kind of help train those individuals to identify what might be at risk for an injury. So we're going to go ahead and you can register here through using an email, but I'm going to log in and you'll get a user ID and a password once you register with the account. So I'm going to sign in. And as we sign in, now we're able to go to our dashboard. Our dashboard is going to show us what sites we have in our system. So my dashboard is going to show me where and the location of each of these farms that I may be dealing with. So if you're a co-op, you're working with a bunch of different farms, you can have these sites. And so this allows you to kind of keep track of your risks, whether it be liability risk, if you've got, attractive nuisances, you want to try to reduce the amount of access to your farm to prevent liability risk. This is a great tool to do that. So you can click here. I've got a new farm. I'm going to click and I'm going to click inspection. So I kind of started an inspection. I'm going to do a new inspection. So I'm going to do a new inspection, and it's going to bring up a. We can call and we can say this is for me. So I'm going to put in my name as the inspector and the date and any comments. This is we're going to just name this as a trial, and then we can go create. What that's going to do is you're going to pull up a map of the site. Now I typed in this address, and because of the georeferencing, so we can keep track of where our farms are at, or our businesses, or our grain handling sites, we can put a star where they are in the map. Can also help you in emergency response and identifying areas that you need to kind of handle if they're remote, how far apart, where you need to communicate to the emergency response units, and that's a very handy tool. So whenever it comes up, it's asking to select an address. So in this case, I'm going to select this one, and it's going to save that location. Now, this is not necessarily where the site is that we're looking for, so I'm going to zoom out just a little bit, and I'm going to scroll over here, and it's just a little bit over here to our left. You can see our grain bins right here, and so we can take and adjust this to set our current view as the default for that SAP. So what that'll do is you can save that, and it changes that star for us. So when we come back out, we have moved that star from over here to back where our site is. So we can adjust it if you need to. Now, when we're using this tool, we're going to make sure to add an item. And under here, you can see ag buildings. You can see all the different types of buildings that you might have on site where you might have some hazards you want to address. We're really looking for some other structures, in particular the grain bin. Now, it gives you some descriptions to work with, but it also gives you some pictures to identify access points that we want to make sure to address. A score of 5 represents it's a low hazard, so it's a good safety score, versus a low number making it an unsafe condition where we might have access and we can have an injury occur. Now, you can print the form and use a paper-based form if you prefer. If you have older individuals who may not like to work with computers, these are all adaptable to mobile devices. So you can also print these out and keep them in a paper binder if you'd like. So those are always an option too. So we can select the score for, we have access to this ladder, and we can group them, and we can name them grain bin ladders. Continue. We can mark this as a high priority. We want to make sure to know that what we're going to do. We can also upload a photo of that. We can, if we've made some improvements, we want to put a new photo up, we can do that, and then we can save this and come back to it at a later date and address it. So once we have that all done, we can return back to our dashboard, and we can look at our inspections, and we can see where we've made that inspection. We can take and say map, and that'll bring us back here to our site. And so we can make adjustments to our group. So grain bin ladders group, so we can make that, we can edit it We can change that score when we need to. All right, and that kind of concludes our summary here on the website. Just a couple of things I want to note before we break. If you want to search the Clearinghouse for a specific topic, all you really need to do is to type in some keywords. For instance, we want to do grain safety. We can just click grain safety, and then it'll work through the system, and we're able to pull up the articles that may be of interest to us focusing on grain safety. So again, thank you for your time. You can see here we have grain safety curriculum. I would encourage you to check out the Grain Handling Safety Coalition and their entrapments, engulfments, entanglements resources. Thank you for your time. If you have questions, please contact myself, Aaron Yoder, or Linda Fetzer for any questions related to using the National Clearinghouse or Saferfarm.org. I recommend you contact Casper Ben Dixon, who is the director of the National Farm Medicine Center. Thank you for your time again, and stay well.